In most supermarkets you can find a bag of frozen mixed berries and the quality seems good regardless of the brand you buy. So I went for the cheapest I could find. The contents can vary depending on the brand, but this one contained strawberries, blackberries and red and black currants, so I'm hoping to get plenty of colour. I poured over about 1.5 litres of hot water that I'd boiled earlier and set the pan to gently simmer with the lid on for about 15 to 20 minutes, occasionally stirring it. You can actually see the fruit losing its colour and the water turning a nice shade of red. After I turned off the heat, I let the pan cool a bit and then used a potato masher to squeeze all the remaining juice and colour into the water. Next I poured the juice through a colander and sieve into my brewing container, and yep, it had all been sanitised. So it's best that you let the mixture cool down a lot more than I did, as any splashes will give you a horrible burn. Again I used the potato masher to extract as much juice as I could from the berry mix. Next I added 2 litres of cranberry juice from concentrate, and at this point I'm not worrying about introducing any air into the wine must. Then I add 2 litres of apple juice, also from concentrate. I then make a cup of tea, actually 2 cups of tea, and give it a stir and let it steep for about 10 minutes. Then I pour it into the container. The tea will add some tannins to the brew, which help give that mouthfeel, and you can add more or less than me. It will also give a slight amount of colour depending on how much you use. Next it's time to mix up and dissolve about 5 kilograms of ordinary granulated white sugar in hot water. Here we're aiming for it to be clear like the pan on the right. I used about 6 litres of hot water in total, which I added to the wine brew and gave it a good stir. I topped up with a few litres of filtered water, giving a total of just under 25 litres, and that's going to be a lot of wine. A quick check with a hydrometer and with an adjustment made for the current high temperature of the liquid gave an original gravity reading of 1.092. When the temperature of the liquid has settled down to just above 20 degrees centigrade, I pitched about 3 teaspoons of Lalvin EC 1118 yeast and let it sit overnight. The next day the yeast was happily doing its stuff, so I added some zest of an orange for some added flavour and a small amount of acidity. I sometimes add a few squeezes of lemon juice if I want to boost the acidity levels. For the next few days I gave the mix a stir and checked that everything was fermenting nicely. I made sure that the lid of the container was snapped well into place. Then I left it in a dark room and in a constant temperature of about 20 degrees centigrade for about 4 weeks. Then I racked it into some demijohns with airlocks, and you can see how nice and bright the colour is. I left the demijohns to sit for another month in the same room and temperature as before and decided to now bottle some. Time to take the final reading and taste it. The final gravity was 0.986, which means the wine is just under 14%, so I'm calling it 13.5%. Next for the smell and taste test, using the sample I took for the hydrometer and using a very ordinary glass. I could smell strawberries straight away and a lot of fruitiness from the mixed berries. There were no off smells, as there often is in the case of a young wine, so I took a taste. Those strawberries certainly came through really well, and there was a good balance of fruitiness and general freshness. This is certainly a strong wine and would be amazing if served slightly chilled and sipped along with almost any type of meal, including spicy food. I'm calling this another good success, and you can make it too.